Sir, 1 minute?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're on.
Okay, thank you, and welcome, guys. Thanks for coming out on such a pleasant evening. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're meeting downstairs in the lower meeting room of the Town Hall. Today's July 20th, and our meeting starts at 7 o'clock. I do want to introduce the members. We're a couple short for now, but it doesn't really matter as long as there's three here. To my right is Zachary Karen, one of the members. My name is Peter Karen. I'm the chairman of the board. Missing is Ken Pacheco, who is the vice chairman. Sitting to his in my left is Bob Adams and Greg Logan. And the gentleman down the end is an attorney for the planning board. And I'm sorry, what was your name?
Paul Haverty?
Paul Haverty. So that's us. How it's going to happen tonight is the first case we're going to hear is case number 0816, and that's Pleasant Street. Is somebody here who's going to present that Pleasant Street case?
Solar.
The solar?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we do that, I just want to point out a couple things. In the event of any kind of an emergency, behind us is an exit, and then right here to our your front right is another exit. Fastest is going to be behind you. But we do need to say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind, and then we're going to get right into Pleasant Street. The flag is here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think everybody learns that, in first grade? And you never forget it, except when you're under the gun.
You're not supposed to forget it.
Like the national anthem, everybody halfway through, they freeze. Anyway, who's here for Pleasant Street, please? Come on up. And this is how it's going to happen. You're going to present your case for the Pleasant Street operation. And you're going to be able to present that without interruption. When you are done, the board is going to probably have numerous questions for you, as well as Mr. Aguirre, our building official from town. At that point, when the board is satisfied with their questions, we open it up to the general public. And you guys get to speak. We ask that you direct the questions to the applicant unless it's something that you think the board is going to be able to answer. And typically, what we probably, well, I'm going to tell you, we're not going to make a decision tonight. And the reason being two things. One, we're going to have what we refer to as a site visit. And in addition to the site visit, the board would probably want to, on their own, do some research before a decision is made. Now, typically we don't meet in the month of August. We've always taken August off, which means we don't make a decision until September. The decision gets signed in October, and that's way too late to do that to anybody. So what's going to happen is we're going to do things just a little bit different. We're going to ask you, and we're going to ask the applicant for Wellington Street, if all of us can collectively come up with a site visit date, that the board can physically drive to your location and look at what you're presenting, along with Mr. Aguirre. So I'm going to ask, this is a little bit out of order, for the Wellington Street operation, who's going to speak on your behalf?
What is it exactly you'd like us to present?
We want a collective date that the board and both applicants that we can meet and physically drive to your location. We preferably would like to do it all on the same morning, if that's possible. So while you're standing up and while you're here, gentlemen, it will probably have to be, for both cases, the three members here, Bob can pick them. We need dates that everybody is available. Is this a Saturday a preference for everybody, or is it any day during the week?
I'll make it happen that someone is here physically.
Okay, so, Bob, being the clerk, we need dates.
You know, you've got another case before that. I don't know, to go and appoint somebody now, is that
You don't
really
have,
out of order?
you don't have to appoint, we're all gonna collectively go.
Doesn't matter, pick a day.
Yeah, okay, so,
We don't meet in August, all right?
but we're going to sign this, and to vote on it. Is, August 6th, Saturday, acceptable to everybody that's here? That wants to
Not
do this?
sooner?
I'm confused, are we gonna vote on this on Saturday?
No, we're gonna do a site visit on
Okay.
Saturday, August 6th. Is that,
Correct.
you're the one that works out of all of us?
That works.
As long as it's in the morning, I'll be fine.
This Saturday is.
Why are we doing a site visit?
the board, will not, we will not vote on anything unless we can physically see what we're looking at. So,
So we have to bring another
And
2 weeks
what-
for a
what's
site
the-
visit?
August 6th, you're gonna present your case this evening, but August 6th will be the date that we're actually gonna physically drive to your location and be able to look at what we're gonna be voting on.
And what's our tentative date for voting?
Say that again?
What's the tentative date? for
Well,
voting?
right now, like I said, we don't meet in August, but we're going to because we
We
have to
appreciate
accommodate you guys. Because like I said, other than that, you're not gonna be building until November.
I don't know.
So,
What is going on?
We're probably gonna have to meet August 17th, which is the third Wednesday, and that's when your case will be voted on. So,
We
I need
don't
to
meet
know.
in August.
I understand that, Bob, but we're gonna have to, because we can't, wait until September to vote, sign it in October, and not let them stop until halfway through November. That's not why we do this, so we have to meet this August.
So the board will require a quorum for them to vote on it, and the quorum would consist of how many people? Or you're
3 people.
required to have 3 people from
Yeah.
the board present for the meeting at the voting time.
Correct, and it has to be a
That's all I
unanimous
need.
vote.
Doesn't have to be everybody.
Well, again, I'm gonna ask, does August 6th work for everybody for a site visit? Does it work for you?
We'll make it work.
Okay, does it work for you?
That's fine.
As long as
James?
the morning.
Morning, okay. What time then do we wanna stop this site visit for, Pleasant Street would be the first one?
Earlier the better, please.
Okay, you're gonna visit both sites in August, on August
Yep, we're gonna do
6th?
both sites. 9 o'clock, all right, guys?
Yep.
Okay, so we are going to meet at Pleasant Street at 9 o'clock. Well, it's not, it doesn't take long.
So is it anything that we can move it up on the calendar, like following weekend, earlier weekends?
No. Now, Wellington Street, I'm gonna say 10, but it could be 10:30. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the Pleasant Street case. Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, does she know it's a public hearing? It's gonna be a
It's gonna be
public
all
hearing,
public
so the
hearings,
public
yeah.
can go onto the property and
Yep,
listen to what we're talking about.
if, yeah, we won't close, everything will be continued. I need to have, Bob, please, 3 members for Pleasant Street, and then we need to read the notice as it was in the paper.
This is gonna be for Pleasant Street. Case number was?
0816.
Okay, it'll be Bob Adams, Ken Pacheco, and Peter Cairns.
Okay, this is for Pleasant Street, and I'm gonna read the application as it was printed in the paper, and then you're gonna present your case. This is for, this was in the July 20th? No, I'm sorry, it was on July 5th and July 12th. You were hereby notified upon the petition of Brighton Planet Solar for a property located at 2651 Pleasant Street, Dayton, Mass., owned by Aaron Reposo, shown on Assessors Map 25, lot number 135, for a special permit pursuant to section 4600, 5300, and 5400 of the Town of Dayton zoning bylaws to install a ground-mounted solar array, and signed by the 6 members of the Board of Appeals, and was submitted by Ross. So whenever you're ready, please. Gentlemen, do you have in front of you the map?
Which one are we doing? Pleasant Street?
This is
Okay.
Pleasant Street. So, ma'am, whenever you're ready, please.
Okay. So I also have more literature that has, in addition to the map, you can see the full design. I have a few of these.
Yes.
Is anyone in the audience here for this case?
At least 3
Yes.
over here, so, Rick, I have the voting minute, I just have that.
I was taught about this, I didn't know anything.
Okay, so like you said, it's ground-mounted solar array for a residential home, just like you see people put their panels on the roof. This customer just elected to have they would prefer to have the panels on the ground. It's more optimal for production. He's trying to offset his electric bill, save money that way. I'm from the solar company, by the way, I'm representing.
And your name again, please?
Joanna
Okay, Joanna, what's your last name?
Falcone.
Thank you.
Yep, so as you can see on the site layout, it's within all of the setback requirements. The array itself will be about 33 feet long by 15 feet high. We are also, to adhere to electrical code and for safety measures, installing a polyethylene mesh on the back of the array so that wires will not be accessible for anyone passersby or,
Accessible, what do you mean by that?
like,
I'm sorry.
you will not be able
Visually?
to touch any electrical
Okay.
components.
And that's 15 feet with the stand?
Correct, the racking will be
What's the
15
letter-
feet high,
letters?
and it's at an angle, so from the top point to the ground.
Sure we do.
I mean, other than that, that's really,
That's what you got, okay.
that's it.
That's all right. It's tough to come before a board and try to do these things. We have some major concerns, and I'm going to have Zach or Karen read 2 letters from abutters for the record and for the general public to be able to hear what those letters are. So Zach, whenever you're ready, please.
Yep, this one was from Jeff Skinwitz, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. It was sent Wednesday, July 20th, 2016 at 6:04 to Rosalind regarding solar panel meeting. Hi Rosalind, thank you for taking the time to call me back. My work schedule has prevented me from making tonight's meeting. I am all for saving energy and about the environment, however this project concerns me for the following reasons. We moved here in December and the proposed site has been underwater until the summer. We always thought it was wetlands and maybe that should be looked into as far as the wildlife in the area. I am assuming the flooded grounds will have to be addressed somehow since they are dealing with electricity. That being said, the only place to drain that would be into myself and my neighbor Tom's property, which is completely unfair. Another concern is the property values in the neighborhood. Clearly, this is not for personal use. No home needs that many panels, so the nice waterfront neighborhood will now look like a commercial area. I believe the roof of the homeowner is more than adequate for personal use. Lastly, the visual site will be just an eyesore. It's bad enough we have to look at dozens and dozens of pickle buckets for a makeshift farm, supporting the argument of wetlands that they have there, but to add solar farm to the mix is just excessive. Please consider these concerns for your review. Sincerely, Jeff Skinwitz. His address was 2641 Park Ave.
Before you read that, let's address it.
Sure.
I don't understand the pickle buckets, but James.
Yes.
Mr. Aguirre, before I open it up to the board, I want the board to listen to what you're going to tell them about the floodplain.
Sure. Good evening, board. Good evening, Dayton. With this particular property, this property owner who wrote the letter does touch on a couple of legitimate concerns. I printed some maps off for the board, however, I couldn't do them in color. I apologize. 2 things are accurate with this particular property. First, the exact location of the array, or the proposed site for the array, is within a wetlands zone that's been delineated by the town of Dayton through its GIS mapping system. The other thing is the entire property that's in question is within the floodplain elevation. So with that said, I won't read you the entire excerpt from the building code, but I will read you the following. This is with reference to applicability of flood-resistant construction. Minimum requirements for development located in flood hazard areas, including subdivision of land and the installation of utilities. So I will be required through the building code to apply applicable regulations with regards to this structure, which means it will have to be above the floodplain elevation, all of its appurtenances, because it is considered a utility. So those two things are going to have a direct impact on your proposed site conditions and possibly modify the site plan in order to adhere to these requirements. So, and this is the mapping from our town
You said there
GIS.
about the elevation, that would raise that elevation to
Correct.
whatever the thing is. And
Substantially.
don't we usually, when we've done this in this, because that is also zoned open space recreation down there, which is the most restricted. I know there's dwellings there. We've dealt with this with other places.
Right.
Would
Our
they
zoning
have to like an
bylaw-
as-built and everything all over, going along with that?
Right. In order to determine the structure's elevation, it would have to go through an engineering firm privately that's hired by the proposed property owner. With that said, there may be some accuracy to what you're saying. I can't tell you right now, without actually going through that process, how high this is going to be. That's all determined through topographical surveys. So I can tell you there's a house not far from there that's been severely elevated, which this board has heard the case on, in order to meet the floodplain elevation requirements. So it would have to be elevated.
And the part where the man in the letter stated about this is more panels than is necessary, it's my understanding.
That's-
My question is how many, you can only do just so many kilowatts, am I right?
Well, we size all of our residential systems based on usage, so
Right,
this
you can only go a
size.
certain amount more.
Right,
So-
and with the utility law, you're
So that
also
isn't-
only allowed, so I would say that is an inaccurate statement.
Yeah, I would have to concur based on the solar permits that I've issued. More than likely, his consumption justifies the panels that are going to be used.
Now, I'm gonna guess it's one person's opinion.
That's what I was gonna
not-
ask, that's what I was
not-
gonna say.
Not from fact.
No, I just wanted to get it
Sure.
cleared up now.
Why can't it be put on the roof? Is it because so many,
I think this is the customer's preference, it hasn't been determined that it cannot go on the roof.
Because that would be your elevation problem
it would
right
be
there.
the easiest route to
Well,
go?
it would also not be applicable, because when you put the panels on the existing structure, the only way this particular code section is applied is if it's a substantial renovation to an existing structure or a new structure. So putting them on the existing house would negate that. I still would require all the electrical connections to be above the floodplain elevation. So some of the appurtenances on the sidewall that you see on houses may have to go up above a certain height, but I'm certain the roof is well over the floodplain elevation, yes.
I thought when we looked, we thought it was close to 20 feet.
It may be.
So now you're talking this thing being 22, 23, 25 feet in the air.
For the electrical.
35 if it's
As part of the
25.
array itself,
Right. So,
yeah, that wouldn't, I mean,
this-
this itself is meant to be drilled into the ground, so that
on
wouldn't
piers, 10 feet above, so that it's not looking into it. So there's some homework that has to get done. I don't want to just out and out deny the petition, that's not fair. There's a couple of options. It's still open, we can continue the hearing, or we can let you withdraw without prejudice and come back.
Yeah.
That way, your ducks are in a row and you see what you're, but I'm gonna let the board ask their questions so they're satisfied with.
I should read the other first.
You will, but listen, I wanna go with this letter that's still up there.
Okay.
Because everybody has a copy. So do you have any questions regarding the letter?
My only was about Jeff here saying that it's clearly not for personal use, but that was because of no home quote needs that many panels, but I understand now that that's probably just an opinion and that's been cleared away, so almost up.
My question along with Zach was, any of this supposed to be sold back to the utility company or strictly for doing a house? Okay. Mr. Pacheco, do you have any
Other than the question why it can't go on the roof, no.
Boss, have it?
I have a question. I'm on board with you. Based on what the building inspector has said to us, it being in a floodplain, being where it is, I'm familiar with that area. I live in South Dayton as well. And I think this plan needs to be, and if you withdraw without prejudice, it wouldn't cost them more to come back with us, Peter?
That's correct.
Okay. And the other thing, so that the board in the future understands, is it is my understanding the building inspector can be here as well. He can, and you might be able to, when a person does this for their own purpose, the utilities won't allow them to exceed more than 20% of what their normal uses are, because it's just, they're not in the business, people, homeowners are not in the business to sell it, so that in the future we'll have this knowledge. Am I correct, Dennis?
You are.
Okay, so that the board knows.
Um,
And I, on board with this present form, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
I'd be inclined to.
I mean, can I withdraw without prejudice? Now, I don't want to
Yes.
waste
Okay.
anyone's time and
Greg,
knowing about
do you have
that
anything that you wanted to
floodplain.
add before we let you
Well, I
go?
think we hit all the topics of the floodplain,
Okay.
wetlands, all
That's a
that
big
stuff.
So,
alert, so.
we're gonna read no, at this point, Zach, it's not necessary if you're gonna withdraw it. If you're gonna withdraw, what does the board wanna do? Do you wanna refund the, applications fee or, wait until the applicant comes back?
And if we reapply as on the roof,
But
we
you
wouldn't
wouldn't
have to
get
come
a,
through.
you wouldn't have to get a special permit
Yeah,
if it's on the roof.
Right, you wouldn't need to come back to the board, this board doesn't do that, it's just strictly for the building inspector.
so I would foresee that as our only other, we would not
Right.
come
Yeah,
back with
Putting it on the
a
ground
30
is
foot
probably
height.
not an
Right.
option.
So by,
Yeah.
I think by that, then if there's a chance they won't be coming back to us at all, we should just refund it.
Does the board concur?
I'm okay with that.
Sure.
You'll direct, all right?
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Okay.
Have a great evening.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, now you don't have to worry about August 6th.
Yes, thank you.
Roz, you and I will go over later on how we're going to handle everything that's involved, okay?
Okay.
But just so that if you do come back, if the applicant decides they want to come back before the board, you would still have to pay for the newspaper notice and the abutters
Okay.
list too. Thank you. Put that one to bed then. This is Pleasant Street.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have you given anything on Wellington Street, have you given the members?
Yes, you should have one, it says 09.
What's my list on the wall? Did you say?
You gave us?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Okay, Bob, can you please assign 3 members?
Right, Bob Adams, Ken Pacheco, Zach Karen. Sorry about that.
I'm going to read the notice as it was printed in the paper on, again, on the 5th and on the 12th. And this is for 1900 Wellington Street in Dayton. You know, hereby notified upon the petition of Jennifer E. Burgess, trustee of the 1990 Wellington Street, 2012 irrevocable trust for a property located at 1990 Wellington Street, Dayton, Massachusetts, shown on the Assessors Map 11, lot number 2-3, for a special permit pursuant to sections 4600, 5300, and 5400 of the Town of Dayton zoning bylaws, install a ground-mounted solar system array, 8.8 kilowatts. And again, signed by the Board of Appeals and as submitted by Roz, our secretary. Sir, I'm assuming you're presenting your case for the board?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chair.
Just a second before you stop. I'm aware, and so is this board, of some question as to whether or not you think you should be here. I want to start off by saying, under no circumstances are you going to argue tonight whether the validity of you needing a special permit. If you're going to go down that route, I'm going to suggest you withdraw without prejudice, or
And can I clarify, I have no interest in going down that road
thank
tonight.
you very much. It makes it a lot easier for everybody involved. So whenever you're ready, sir, for the record, present your case so Roz knows, your name and...
Your name, sir?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, my name is Michael Ferragamo, and I'm an attorney with Rainski Levinson LLC, with offices at 1547 Fall River Avenue in Seekonk, Massachusetts. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Jennifer E. Burgess, trustee of the 1990 Wellington Street 2012 irrevocable trust. The applicant is seeking a special permit pursuant to sections 4600, 5300, and 5400 of the Dayton zoning bylaws to allow construction of an 8.8 kilowatt residential solar array on property located at 1990 Wellington Street, more particularly described as Assessor's Map 11, Lot 2-3. Now, the property is an approximately 1.2, give or take, acre parcel within the resident agriculture zoning district. Briefly, before I continue, I know that the board may be aware of the discussions that occurred with regard to whether we are required to be here tonight. I would only request that be able to be permitted to enter into the record two pieces of correspondence. The first being correspondence dated June 22, 2016, from my offices on behalf of the applicant, requesting confirmation that...
I'm sorry, June what?
That was June 22, 2016. And that was at the very topic, requesting confirmation that no special permit would be required for the project. The second correspondence is the town legal counsel's response dated June 30th, 2016. As I mentioned before, I have no interest in discussing the legal merits of that. I simply want to enter these into the record for the purpose of having a complete record.
Yep, they're in here, in your file, sir.
Has the Gazette been paid?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, just so long as I confirm that that's on,
Sure,
those are on the
yes,
record.
absolutely.
Thank you. Now, that being said, the reason we're here tonight, as I mentioned before, is to obtain a special permit to construct a residential solar array. Special permits may be issued for uses which are in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaws. The solar array proposed by the applicant will do exactly that. This is a residential solar array installation that, even driving into town today, I was able to see a significant number of signs advertising that, or acknowledging, I should say, that there has been a residential solar array installed into a residential structure in the town of Dayton. It's clearly in conformity with the existing zoning districts and well within the zoning bylaws. Here with me tonight to talk about the engineering aspects of the solar installation is Ron Bennett of Got Sun Got Solar. I would ask that if any of the questions that may be directed to him after that time, I may be permitted to briefly request some further information regarding what I believe was a proposed site visit to take place in August after the board is done with their inquiry of Mr. Bennett. That being said, if the board has any questions of him, I would turn it over to you to do so.
How are you?
How are you?
Fine.
You've been here before?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No? Did you come here asking questions a while back?
I've been into the building department.
Maybe I saw you coming in or out, okay.
Yeah, but
First time here, zoning board.
first time here at zoning, yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
We're waiting for you.
Oh,
Just give us an
Okay.
idea
please?
give us an idea as to what your plans are.
Okay, well, simply put, I mean, we do have a site plan that we've submitted, and it's an 8.8K system. I believe it's 32 panels of a ground array. The footprint of the ground array is 44 feet long by approximately maybe 12 feet deep. It's just a 37-degree pitch ground array. The front part of the ground array will be about 18 inches off the ground, and the back part would be about 11 feet off the ground.
That's the total height.
That's solar height, right. Yep.
Excuse me, that 11 feet, it's actually when it's, that is top peak.
That's
So
the-
always, it won't go above 11 feet.
Right, correct.
This doesn't move either, it's
It
stationary.
doesn't move, it's stationary, it's
Does it go with the
fixed.
sun then? Is it moving?
No, it's not a tracking system,
So it just stays in one
It's
position?
just, it's stationary.
And that's
right.
efficient? That's
Full
an
assembly
efficient system?
Please?
That's an efficient system? I thought they really had
Yep.
that kind of follow.
Oh, no, absolutely,
Fully
no.
solidly exposed.
Right, exactly. yeah. No, it'll meet all required building codes. Of course, the building codes are pretty stringent.
You said something about 12 feet deep, is that how deep you have to go in the ground? It's just
Oh, no,
12 feet.
12, meaning 12
Okay.
feet this way. Excuse me.
That's okay.
You
No,
got
it's-
13.2
it's-
here, but it says 13.2, is that
Yes.
Well, 13 point,
2,
yeah,
44 feet the other way?
8 kilowatts, 8.8 kilowatts.
8.8, yeah.
Hey, before we continue, I'm gonna hand it over to Jim, again, our building official, because as we were looking at the plans, we have some concerns. And him being the building inspector, I'm gonna let him address those concerns. Jim, do you wanna start with the sewer?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'd like for the record to just make everyone aware that in addition to my capacities as commissioner, I also am an agent for the Board of Selectmen and an agent for the Board of Health. So I do have some authoritative designation over some of the concerns that are going to be presented tonight. With respect to the site plan and the proposed location of the solar array, it's in close proximity to the septic system and some of its components. So typically, we like to see, actually the Title V regulation requires a slab-type foundation, which I presume you're either going to use anchors or ballast for an anchoring system, right?
Right, the slab type foundation is what's
Okay.
been submitted.
So with that said, then there's a 10-foot setback requirement from the septic tank and the leaching field.
Mhm.
I believe the site plan that you submitted does not meet either of those setback requirements. So that would be
I
the
think,
first.
right, it meets the leaching field.
Okay, so it
But
meets the
it
leaching
doesn't-
field, doesn't meet the septic tank.
Doesn't meet the tank itself.
Okay.
So, judging by the looks of your scale, and it's difficult because you're talking such a small scale. And gentlemen, what I'm looking at is if you see where it says septic 1,500 a gallon, there's a rectangle box that has three circles on it. That's the holding box. So your proposed solar
Is that
array
between the house and the septic?
between, yeah, it's what comes
I'm
out of
just
your.
trying to see what you're talking about.
Sure, absolutely.
That's your
Okay,
septic.
go ahead.
So your proposed solar array needs to be a minimum of 10 feet. If you're looking at this, it would be 10 feet to the west of your tank.
Okay,
So, right here. I'm guessing, it looks like, according to your scale right now, what do we figure, about 2 feet?
2 feet,
So now you're talking moving this to the west, a minimum of another 8 feet.
well, may I interrupt?
Absolutely.
Okay. The ballast system won't be on the outside edge of that array. It'll be, basically, there'll be about 6 feet of solar panels and or structure that'll be cantilevered over from
Over your
where the
slab.
ballast system, yeah, right, exactly.
So your slab still has to be a minimum of 10 feet
Because of
from your
Right,
tank. So you
right.
might, now you're talking maybe a foot or two.
Well, maybe, yeah,
But he's the one who's gonna measure
we're
it.
not talking a couple, yeah. we're
Right,
talking a
okay, so
couple
not
feet
enough
and-
to interfere with the quality of your system.
I would hope not,
Okay,
yeah.
James, you wanna go to the second?
Yes.
But,
Methane
It,
the thing is,
expanding upon item number 1, it also looks like there's a severe limitation with any expansion capabilities if your septic system were to fail with the installation of this structure in the yard. So what we need to know from a health perspective, if your system fails in the future, which it will at some point in time, and this structure is restricting the expansion or the repair area for your septic system, what mechanism is in place to get this thing relocated or moved while the septic system is being put in? Because what I don't want is a situation where we have a public health hazard, and now it's going to be in litigation as to who's going to pay to move this system for the septic system to be replaced. Now, you may say that's 10, 15 years down the road, but it's a real concern. And from a public health perspective, we need to know that there's some accountability or some type of foresight to deal with that type of an issue.
well, it seems like that's a lot of ifs, first of all.
Not necessarily,
But-
no.
In
The septic
2006, I think
system
you
is
had your
relatively
septic
new.
system replaced.
This septic system?
In 2006, I think it was.
No, I have the engineering, 2000, well,
I thought that's what, it was signed, yeah, May 11, 2006 by the Board of Health.
The septic system, 2006? No, it's,
It's 10 years.
Is that because granted the addition 10 years ago?
mhm.
We got the septic system since we've been there.
I had the same engineering group do this, that designed the septic system, and I don't have a particular date on this.
Well, I got a stamped plan by the Board of Health, May 11th, 2006.
Oh, but it didn't exactly happen in
Ah.
2006, that's the problem.
September
It happened a
19th,
couple years after.
This is,
2011?
that's just a data.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this is what
it
you
wasn't built at the
the
time of the
on-site
drawing.
sanitary disposal system. the
Jimmy, would it be
data
better if
system.
it was just moved further away? Because
That's as-built.
That's the as-built,
it's
so
only
that's
talking
gonna
a couple of
determine
feet
the date.
of
So,
electrical wire.
so the as-built that I have here is dated 2011. So it's quite possible for the system to be designed in 2006 and installed in 2011.
Okay.
So it's we're probably talking about a 2011 system.
So Jim, what are you looking for? To have it like maybe
I'm not looking
Not-
for anything, I just want to
move
raise
it-
the, you know,
move it further away so you got room to repair a system?
there's typically a reserve area put on a
Right.
septic plan when it's submitted. This one doesn't have one, and I think it doesn't have one because of the second concern for this site location. We have a wetland setback problem. This septic system and the proposed location for your solar array is well within the 100-foot delineation from wetlands, and I believe it's 50 within the 50-foot delineation for wetlands. Both of those require the Conservation Commission to be involved when you propose any type of structure within that delineation or buffer zone. So with that said, I think that's why we don't have a buffer zone on this plan, because it probably was, I'd have to go back through the minutes of conservation, but it may be a case where conservation wanted to really restrict the location of that septic system because of the close proximity to the wetlands. And the reserve area would have been closer to the wetlands, which would lead credence to the Conservation Commission not allowing that. Which means the septic system would have to go back where it is now, or in a
It'd
different
have to be
location.
replaced.
Right.
Is this built on the
Please?
It's not directly on the septic.
Is it built on the reserve area?
It's actually
That
built.
should be shown in the drawings, right?
It's actually, your proposed location is actually outside of the footprint of the septic system, but closer to the wetlands.
I don't think you have a reserve area, because, like Mr. Aguirre was just saying, it's being so close to the wetlands, none was created, which meant that since you don't have a reserve area, if your existing leaching field failed, you would have to replace that existing leaching field, as opposed to
Right.
a reserve area.
Right.
But I think the biggest concern, and it's going to be a concern of this board, is the town has a 100-foot buffer to wetlands for any structure. This is considered an accessory structure, it still falls within that 100 feet. We cannot, as a zoning board, give you a permit to violate that 100 feet. What we would have to do is literally approve it with the condition that you go to the Conservation Commission and get approval from them to be within the 100-foot buffer. Does that make sense to you guys? You're looking at me like I have two heads.
It was, so if that was the direction that the board was willing to go, if approval were to be granted tonight, and that was a condition I was thinking of proposing.
It won't be granted tonight. It won't be granted until there's either a site visit, or if you didn't want to approve a site visit, at least a drive-by by the members who are the voting members. And then at our next meeting, which I am willing to meet in August, which we typically don't do, that's not fair to you, I've already explained that at the beginning. We would meet in August so that you didn't have to wait an extra few months. That's probably the best we're going to be able to do. So whether we do an official site visit or not, that's fine. If you don't want to, we still are going to go, just not go on your property. But we still won't discuss it until August 17th. And then it would be voted on at that point. What we would do is, we would continue the hearing and not close it. By continuing the hearing, we would still allow public input, which means you have the right to come back and submit things to the board. And we would also, at that point, entertain information from the Conservation Committee as to what they would like to do. It's illegal for us to say you can put it within the 100-foot setback.
Where on that site plan can we legally put it without?
You don't have a lot of room, because you have, what I've looked at is 2 isolated wetlands. This is where a site visit will come in handy. This is where Mr. Aguirre and the board, who we would rely more on his opinion, would try to find somewhere on your property and say, this is probably the best location for it. We actually did that with one of our first solar systems that we ended up by being on the gentleman's property and saying, if it's gonna go here, it's gonna be not allowed, but if you can move it here, the board has no problem with it, and that's what happened, and it worked out for everybody. But this is the gentleman that's probably gonna be the best bet for you to determine where it's going to go. But he's gonna determine that it's beyond that 100-foot setback.
Don't you think you ought to go to conservation first before we approve?
Well, it would be with condition.
Yeah.
Typically, that's how it's done, but I mean, that would be at the discretion of the
Yeah.
board. If I could just close saying this, as a health official, I'd like to make the following recommendation to the board to consider. Because there's no reserve area, I would ask that the proposed site stay outside of the footprint of the solar system, the footprint of the solar system stay out of the footprint of the septic system, and it's 5-foot overdig, because that's typically the size of a system. In addition to the leaching area that's depicted on this plan here, there's a 5-foot overdig that sometimes isn't on an as-built plan. So, and then stay 10 feet away from the septic tank or any other appurtenances that deal with the septic system. That would be my recommendation to the board. If they can submit a site plan that shows that, I would be in support from a health perspective.
When does conservation meet again? Does anybody know?
I had no idea
I-
last weekend, right?
They've got a meeting August 10th. Whether this can go on, I'm not sure, they got a meeting August 10th.
You're going to that?
I'm going to that, I'm on a butter on Milk Street, some property, so that's where I'm going.
Right.
That one's August 10th.
The problem with sending them to conservation first, you're delaying this thing until November. If we can address our concerns, with the exception of the 100-foot setback, what difference does it make which comes first?
Well, we have to approve the plan.
With a condition, though. It'd have to be with the approval from Conservation Commission. So we would work out the details that's acceptable to the zoning board as long as it doesn't come within whatever the setback is determined by the conservation. Now, there's no abutters here. I know your driveway is a stone driveway and it goes up a little bit, correct?
No.
When you pull in, it's changed, I think, since the last time I probably drove by, right? And you have town water,
Yes.
okay. So I don't think you have any room in the front, especially because of where your water pipe goes. So you'd be talking to the left of your house.
Put it right on the road.
You could, huh?
Good.
It's the setback.
12 feet.
James, it'd have to require a setback, and I think I don't want to hold you guys up any more than we have to. To send you to conservation first means you go get their approval, which is not going to happen on August 10th. It's not going to happen until sometime in September, minimum. Then you're going to come back here. And we're not going to decide that night, we're just going to have a recommendation from the conservation. That's why I think if we do a site visit, if you can find an alternative site for this location, James, if we're all there, you're going to know
Yeah, that's fine.
what's...
It's an accessory structure, so it would have to be 55 feet off the center line of the road.
Right,
Just like
55 feet.
feet from the front,
Center
from the
line of
center
the
of the
road.
road.
Not the edge, the center line.
Technically, you own until the middle of the road. So if you were to put a string, you have to go a minimum of 55 feet from the center of the road. That's where that, if not, then you'd have to come and get a variance from us that says, can we be 25 feet from it?
Peter, can I interject here? for a second?
Absolutely, Bob.
I understand that, we're trying to work with these people who are bending over backwards as far as the thing in August. It's not our fault that you people came to us in July, but this, I really think you're feeding way too much into this. You probably can just move this a little bit to the left, one way or the other, and probably still be okay, provided you can go to conservation.
But
We made our
frankly, I don't
original-
have a problem with that.
No, you shouldn't,
And-
this is, no.
No, it doesn't matter,
I
but,
mean, to
you
move it
know, I
out to the
mean,
front of the street and the house, I mean, this is,
I
we're
ju-
going way off.
yeah, I just try to put it someplace where it would be aesthetically pleasing, so to speak, you know?
I think you're all right, I just think you gotta
Yeah.
find out from the
Conservation.
If I have to
conservation.
move it 3 feet one way or 5 feet one
No,
way.
the 3 feet gets
it's
you
not a
away
deal
from the
maker.
septic system. That satisfies the
Right.
Board of Health. The elephant in the room is gonna be the conservation.
Mhm.
It depends how strict they wanna be. They're the ones who are going to determine how much of a variance they're gonna give you. I can help you through that process. I can't make the determination. I can get you the person who, the scheduling and whatnot. But I still think we should, definitely, the board is gonna wanna take a look at that property. And if we can certainly do that on the 6th, if we can get you on the 10th meeting, it's not up to me, it's up to the conservation. Then, like I said, we're willing to meet on the 17th to vote on it. When we vote on it, at that point, let's say it's approved, because the conservation said so, and everything is all wrapped up, in the middle of September, we would sign the decision, because it takes that long to get it back from our town attorney. And then you have a 20-day appeal period.
If I may comment on that aspect.
Absolutely.
The applicant is facing a significant timeline barrier coming up with the potential expiration of solar credits that would be available to them. But in order to obtain those credits, the structure has to be in the ground, is my understanding and appreciation.
By when?
Leave the one, it's,
Well, they can pull the rug under it at any time.
Well, I thought the solar credits were now extended to the end of 2017.
Or until they come up with,
Well, they keep extending it, so I don't know if they're gonna pull it back.
Yeah, well, or they extend it to the end of the year, or until they come up with,
Well, it was,
or,
it
and if
was
they come
extended
up
to
with
2016, and now it's extended to
That's
December
a-
31st of 2017
No,
for the solar credits.
are we talking SREX?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I'm talking about, is
Mhm.
SREX.
So, I understand the time constraints, I don't think it applies. The biggest time constraint would be the building season, which you're gonna still be well within frost.
that was
So,
gonna be my next point.
Your piers or your slab would be in the ground. You could literally start, beginning of October, putting the slab in the ground.
Well, just one thing I would request, that if the board were inclined to grant the relief we've requested in the August meeting, that be permitted to have town council work with us to expedite writing the decision and potentially hold an earlier special meeting to authorize signing of the
This
decision.
is what we've done in the past. I have no problem asking our town council to do it. It's their schedule, not mine, or this board's. But what we've done is the 3 voting members, which is Bob Adams, Ken Pacheco, and Zachary Karen, upon completion of the written decision, and if you want to write it and have it run by her, that's fine too. We can go over that. The 3 members, we have all in the past come in, once it's voted on, come in and sign the decision if somebody's in a rush. So assuming we voted on the 17th, let's say the decision was written in 2 weeks, and the board was, those 3 members were willing to come in and sign. Let's say, for example, you still have a 20-day appeal period that by law starts on Thursday. The next day, when it gets stamped by the town, or the day after it's signed, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Thursday. The day after it's signed, you still have that 20-day appeal period. And then he can, now, you can roll the dice and start right after the board signs it without the building permit, but then you do that at your own peril. But that's something you would discuss with Mr. Aguirre. Jim, you have a concern?
If it were approved and the decision was signed, as you know, there's an appeal period of 20 days. We have in the past with a written affidavit signed by the property owners that they want to move forward under their own duress. I will issue the permit within that 20-day period, but the town's not going to be held accountable if any appeals are filed. You'll have to take the structure down accordingly. I don't like to make that standing practice, but I have done it if there are legitimate time constraints that have to be met. Just because you want to put it in isn't one of them. If we're faced with bad weather or so on and so forth.
Definitely should go all right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just for clarification, General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 9 does allow an applicant to move forward at risk after a special permit has been granted during not only the pendency of an appeal period, but if an appeal is filed, they're allowed to continue moving forward at risk.
At risk.
And once it's
But
filed,
that
it's
at
filed.
risk means that if the appeal eventually goes against them, they're gonna have to remove the structure and
But
remove
if
Who would
you-
file the appeal?
Anybody
Anybody.
can. It doesn't even have to be a neighbor. It can be a town
Anybody.
resident that says, I don't want these in town.
It isn't gonna happen, chances are.
Well, specifically, it
I
has
can't
to
say,
be an agreed
I
upon.
can't say it isn't gonna
It just
happen.
jinxed me, I'm
Um,
afraid, it just jinxed me.
But there's nobody here opposed to it, none of your butters, those would be the main.
Bob, let's not go down that route. I don't wanna give any kind of.
We're really going
They could be
down
watching,
the
they could be
route.
watching at home
Okay,
silently.
guys, let's wrap this up. Does the board have any more questions?
I have one for the lawyer over here. You made a statement that if they do, within the 20-day period, if a person does file, do they have to cease any further operation till up to the outcome of that?
No,
Or can they-
they're allowed to continue pursuing, going forward at risk.
Right, and if it was, they would have to take it down.
Correct, but so they can complete construction while an appeal is pending,
Okay.
and if the appeal eventually is decided against them, then they will have to remove the structure and return the property.
And that's just about on anything, no matter what it is, not just a solar.
Correct, any special permit.
I just wanted that.
Whereas, to contrast, there is no such right to move forward and construct on the issuance of a variance. A variance, if there's an appeal filed, you have to wait until that process is completed.
But if everything goes this way, you should have plenty of time to construct this
It was
in
60,
October.
it was 60 in Christmas last year.
Huh?
It was 60
I know,
Christmas
okay.
last year.
I thought a lot of this was all rhetoric here.
The board, the three members who are the voting members, the best thing to do at this point is to vote to continue the hearing until the site visit. And at that point, you can see everything. You can, because that is a public hearing, if you so choose to vote on it that morning, you may. And certainly, you would have to impose the condition that it be approved by conservation. So unless you have other issues, like you want to see trees or something, which is, my opinion, you would not do until you actually did the site visit. Judging by the fact that there's no butters here, I'm going to guess the neighbors don't seem to be overly concerned that this would be in their neighborhood.
Do you guys have any concerns?
I don't have any concerns.
Is someone gonna step in and make us plant trees and stuff now?
I don't know. I
Well,
don't.
who could do it? Who could do it?
The
You guys?
could, yes,
We could.
absolutely.
We could.
Well,
And we did that on one of them.
it can be a condition, and you can challenge that condition. You can go to court and challenge.
I don't want an ugly fence out there in front of my house.
You don't want to do this. But yes, the board's gonna look at the property and say, you know what, guys, it doesn't fit the neighborhood, can you screen it? We did that with.
Well, I don't understand the difference between these on the ground and on the roof. You see them no matter what. You drive by, they're on the roof, they're on the ground.
What they refer
What's the
to
difference?
as an accessory structure. That's the difference. You are now changing the characteristics of the neighborhood. You're adding an accessory structure. Could be a shed, it could be a barn, it could be anything. If you put it on
You're
your
talking
roof.
aesthetic values now, you're not talking accessory structure.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know it's accessory structure, but,
Absolutely, we're talking
but I mean-
aesthetic values, because that's our job for the
you know,
neighborhood.
if someone wanted to build a barn there and you could,
He would go
would you
through the
make us
same
put
process.
shrubs in front of it?
We
We
could, absolutely,
could.
if
It would go
it
through the
was
same
a
thing.
But
very.
that wouldn't be in front of, that wouldn't be for special
slow down.
permit though.
Slow down, or you're going to, we're gonna close the meeting, okay? You're getting angry for no reason yet.
Well, I don't think it's for no reason.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I need to have somebody, make the motion to close, to continue this
I'll make the
until.
motion, we continue this to August 6th.
But can I just amend that August 6th because we scheduled the other one for 9 o'clock?
Shit, you're on vacation?
No.
Oh,
No. But we scheduled the other one for 9, they withdrew it, so why don't we schedule this for 9 instead of 10? We talked about 10 for them, so if it's okay with them, 9 o'clock. So can we schedule the next, the public hearing on your property on August 6th at 9 a.m.?
Instead of 10.
No, I don't think we're gonna do it. We're going on the roof. I can't take this anymore.
Okay.
Okay, so you wanna withdraw as well?
Yeah, this isn't right. I don't like things that aren't right.
I mean, the only concern is when my roof went up, I had leaks for like 8 years. I just finally got a roof that stopped leaking.
Plus, it's not a nice flat roof either. It's got skylights, you know, would be interrupted panels and stuff.
Claire, can I say something to you?
Yeah.
Don't abandon it.
No,
You're
guys-
so.
You have no
you guys are
idea.
making
I
us
know, I
jump
do,
in.
but you're so close.
This is
Yeah,
the
so
thing.
close, right.
We applied for the building permit in the beginning of May.
So close,
We
we're
went down to
talking
pick
like
up the building
November.
permit.
so-
Sir, I'm gonna ask you to stop talking, or we're gonna remove you from the meeting. You're getting too angry for no reason.
I'm gonna
We're
remove
here to
myself.
help you, not hurt you, but you're taking the wrong attitude. Listen to your attorney and let them do the talking for you. Go
So
ahead,
I
please.
appreciate everything that, I mean, I've lived in Dayton a long time.
Absolutely, I know you have.
you guys help us to try to get things done right. The thing is, we did make this application in May, and it just seems like it's been such a long haul. We go to pick up an application, then we're told we have to apply for the zoning board.
Yeah,
Then, I had Rosalind call me to get a check to the post office, and the $1,500, and, you know, it's just, my personal opinion is residential solar should be a right. I understand coming in tonight, talking to you about what are some of the things about the septic, coming in about the setbacks, looking at the wetlands. All of these things are serious concerns. I understand that. I completely agree with that. It's just that I think that maybe we can try to do it a little bit differently, that you
Well,
put us through
the
this
fact that we even
emotional and
meeting-
financial stress. I mean,
moving it up to, well, that's what I'm telling you, you're so close. We're gonna come in August for you. It's not something we typically do.
Yeah,
I'm not
no, I
saying, oh
appreciate
gee,
that.
what
I
a big
understand
deal,
you
but
doing
we're trying to help you. And like I said, you're so close. I don't know where it's gonna go on your land. We're not the experts.
Right.
But can you imagine if somebody wanted to build a junkyard across the street from you?
Right.
Wouldn't you appreciate the ZBA saying you can't do that? Or you're gonna put plants, or whatever, and that's what we're trying to do.
I
It's
understand
not
that.
just you, we're protecting the neighborhood as
Right.
well. I understand it can't go on your roof. To be honest with you,
It can't go on my
they
my
shouldn't be
roof
on
is
roofs.
just-
The building
it
inspector
scares
will
me.
tell you
I
that
have leaks, like
these
every
people.
time it rains, I get a leak, and I
Absolutely.
have paid
The
for
people
a
who
new
are
roof,
putting
I
them
have
on their
everything,
roofs
yeah.
are gonna be paying for it 15, 20 years from now when they start, the structure starts to sag, or they gotta come off the roofs because the shingles have to be replaced.
Right.
So nobody's looking that far into the future because they don't think they're gonna own their home. You're doing a great thing. You're getting off the grid. You're so close. Don't ruin the structure of your house. You're talking a month.
Right.
If you wanna pull out, by all means, it's not for me to say,
All right.
don't,
Let's go forward.
but-
We'll go.
Before you
Go
do,
ahead, talk to me, go ahead.
before you do, it's my impression that you people feel as though that this was the right of your property. Okay, let me finish. They're allowed in this town, ground-mounted solar panels are allowed in this town by special permit. And it is like, it's not that we don't allow these, but they have, the conditions have to be met. Like Peter said, you are close.
Can I
A
say
little bit of
something?
interjection was done here tonight that caused some confusion.
I just want to say one thing. I think all these concerns could be handled on the building inspector's level.
Exactly.
I think this
It's
guy
already
could
done.
handle everything involved here.
Bob Adams has made the motion. Ken Pacheco or Zach Karen second the motion, please.
Well, I wanted to clarify, we could take August 6th site meeting at
9
9 o'clock.
AM, you wanna do it 9 AM?
Yes,
No
really.
problem, 9 AM.
Hold on,
I'm
we
there.
said we were gonna be at Pleasant's.
Yeah, but they
No,
withdrew.
no,
They
no.
withdrew.
Okay, so we're going,
So
That's
we
why we
changed-
want to come earlier.
it's fine.
That's
The other
fine, that's
people
right.
withdrew, that's all.
Okay, I have a second. All in
Come
favor?
7 a.m. tomorrow morning if
Any
it helps.
discussion?
Early
All in
meeting you're
favor?
gonna have in
That's
August.
Okay, so the
I
next
have
meeting
no
is gonna be
problem.
August 6th on your property,
At 9 o'clock in the
9
morning.
o'clock.
It is a public hearing.
so we'll
Thank you.
post it.
Your meeting is continued until.
So we should have all our butters come over and talk to you?
You don't have
You
to.
don't have to.
What we're going to try to do is determine the best spot for it on the land, based on what he says,
In conservation.
in conservation. Claire, like I said, you're so close. Just do it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, we're going to now sign the decision for case number 0316, which is 1209 Sunset Avenue. This is the sign from Buckland. It's been that long. Bob Adams, Greg Logan, and Ken Pacheco, please.
I need to be voted as a replacement for, was it Zach?
Yes, or Brett, somebody, I can't remember who.
When I wasn't
Was it Brett?
I thought it was.
Yeah, Brett is the voting member.
Okay.
So we're taking Brett off, so.
So we need a motion, and we have a letter from the attorney saying even though I had recused myself, he's okay with me to be
Absolutely.
a voting member. So somebody needs to make a
Right on
motion
front there.
to replace Brett.
Which case was it?
It's 0316.
0316.
1209
I'll make a
Sunset.
motion to remove, was it Brett
Brett,
Zagrafis and be replaced with Ken Pacheco in case number 0316.
Okay, Greg Logan, can you second that for me?
I'll second that motion.
Then all in favor?
All right.
Okay, this is the letter from Rob, the attorney. Please allow the email to confirm, the applicant assents to Ken Pacheco being a voting member on this application. Thank you, and it's signed by Rob. So that is now into the record, and it's been seconded, so I need the gentleman who just did that to sign the decision, unless you feel like you want to read it. One of the things I will tell you is, by right, gentlemen, he did not exceed the sign that he is actually allowed. His application was actually less than what zoning requires.
Didn't we vote to approve this already?
I don't think we did.
Yeah, we did.
You voted, this is the written decision.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
we
we
gotta
can-
sign it.
Yeah, we can sign it, but
You didn't vote when?
I don't, because we didn't have that other memo. I wasn't a voting member at that time, because there was no motion to make me.
Okay.
So she's written this decision with the
With the
anticipation
anticipation
that I'm gonna
of-
be a voting member.
Right.
I'm obviously in favor of it, and I made that clear either last
Okay,
meeting.
so Bob Adams, Greg, or Ken, make the motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Somebody
I'll
second it?
second that motion.
All in favor?
Got it.
Aye.
Case
Okay.
number again?
This is case number 0316.
It's the same one that we gave you before.
Can you pass that down, please? Have everybody
I
sign
just
it.
wanted
Date
to
it.
go for the record, that's all. I get confused.
Not alone.
Well, no, I thought we were gonna do old business first, I think.
I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to,
And I was late, I was stuck in another
And
meeting.
you
so-
really didn't discuss this with any of us about meeting in August. I was really caught by
we have to, that's not fair to them.
You going
it. It
somewhere?
isn't about fair. It is not fair.
Well, we usually, the zoning board usually goes on vacation together.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, we
middle of
are.
August,
We
and,
were Alaska.
We did it. It's a unique situation. We've done it in the past occasionally. We've met in August, but it's not that frequent. Occasionally, we have to do it.
I just don't wanna set, you know, precedent here. No, we have been accommodating. I don't understand why these people came in with this many today.
Has
Thought there
everybody
was a right.
read the minutes for June 15th?
I have.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Opposed?
No discussion on it.
Okay,
Okay.
skip something.
We got
Yes.
another decision,
Get signed.
don't
Can I have that written
This
in
is
back?
signed.
Okay, thank you. And now the next one is gonna be case number 07-16. I need a motion to replace,
Jason.
Jason Quinn. He is on emergency meeting tonight for his job. So,
Who was here and
I was.
we? Good.
okay, so, make a motion to put,
I'll
I'm
make a
gonna-
motion to replace
Jason Quinn?
Jason Quinn with case number
It's 23 dash, no, excuse me,
No,
7-16
7-16 with Greg Logan.
and 23-04.
Two?
It's two then.
and the reason why, this is a modification request, So it's all, everybody has to, it doesn't have to be everybody in favor, but I guess everybody is.
That was about changing the locks, am I right? We all agreed on what was done.
No,
That was the house design.
this wasn't this the one where the house is too close to the?
Yes,
the
this
boundary?
is, you had to move the house. Originally, we were trying to do it with a variance, but Marguerite said it had to be a modification request. So,
The conditions are in that modification.
they are, absolutely. Now that we've made the motion to replace Jason, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion that we approve.
I'll second with the conditions that we imposed.
All, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Can you pass that down? Let me sign it and pass it down. Is there any more public input?
No, we do have something for Brett.
Yeah, Brett's,
Under new business is C.
Okay.
YouTube?
I don't know if this necessarily requires, approval from the board itself, but he wants approval, so, we can do it. You want to read it,
I wanna
it was
just-
addressed to you.
Sure. I did get a phone call from him. I did give him permission to put us on YouTube. In fact, we're already there on YouTube, so this is kind of a, if somebody objects to that, this would be the time to, no, seriously, if somebody doesn't want to be on YouTube. So let me read the letter from Selectman Brett Segropoulos.
This has got to go back, I'm sorry.
Dear Chairman Pacheco,
Sorry, Ken.
everybody's signing this. That is a sign. You want to make sure everybody's signing this? The Board of Selectmen voted unanimously on June 2nd, 2016, to task me with creating an official YouTube account for the town of Dayton in order to post video recordings of all appropriate public meetings. Since your meetings are recorded by the Cable Television Committee, I am writing to request approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals to publicly post all video recordings of its meetings to the town of Dayton YouTube account. The Board of Health and the Board of Selectmen meetings will be posted regularly. In addition, I am also seeking approval for the Planning Board to post their meeting as well. I believe that this will be a huge step forward to making town information more open and accessible. I look forward to your response. Respectfully submitted, Brett Segropoulos, Court.
I have some question.
Sure.
I'm not real computer savvy with what the YouTube means, but does this mean that someone can come home from work at 11 o'clock at night, turn on YouTube and bring up a meeting at any time?
Yes.
Right, do they have access for taking any segment of that and applying it somewhere else?
What do you mean by applying it somewhere else?
Let's just say we were talking and someone took contents of a certain section of, like a sound bite, take it out of it and move it to somewhere else.
Absolutely.
They
You
could.
sure
You
you
can do
guys
that
wanna
with
do
anything
something
that's
like
on the.
They could, it's, I mean, it's public, I mean, if someone were to do that and there was a problem with it, I'm sure we could.
Well, once it's out there, it's gone too far. You can't never get it back.
Correct.
I don't think this is a good idea for me.
Unfortunately, I don't think they need our permission, Bob.
I don't either, but
I'm not sure.
Back the record, I'm opposed. You guys can do
Yeah,
what you want.
people
There's
get
nothing
concerned about
crazy.
different stuff, and this is not one of those that I get too concerned about. If someone's gonna spend their time to put a quote that I've made. If I run for office, I suppose somebody could take a clip of something I
Well,
said.
I'm afraid of those little apps that they get, and they take a person's picture and they add something to it and distort us, and make us look like some kind of villain.
You are a high profile target, Bob.
Everyone's up to you and Ken Pacheco fishing in Alaska. Bob, can you sign that one and pass it to Greg?
That's already happened with you, I've already got you.
You know,
I need you to sign that.
I've seen
please.
some of this
Yeah.
encrypted stuff.
I'm gonna have you guest star on Bambi.
I saw two small deer.
I'm in the record book, yeah.
Yeah, just, thank you.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Does anybody have any concerns about the solar that we, not the first one that they've pulled out, but, Bob, can you pass it to Greg to sign, please? About, before we meet on August the 6th.
I do have a couple.
What's your feeling?
I mean, if this solar stuff's all new to us, this board, I know the planning board's been dealing with a little bit of it, and conservation. Now, for all these people that come in for a special permit, kind of feel for Mrs. Burgess Clare over here, because she did apply back in May, I guess it was. And here it is now, the end of July.
Slider, yeah.
And shouldn't she have been told that some of the problems right occur to go to these boards prior to this? Is there some kind of reticle we can set up, okay, these might be some conditions you have to look at before? Let them do their paperwork before they come to us.
That's the gentleman's
That's,
responsibility.
I hear you, and I know she knows that, but she won't say nothing to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what the problem is.
But it was
Well, at this
my
point,
Here's
let's
my
put it this way, if I
concern.
was a contractor coming to see Jim, Jim could have like a piece of paper for solar. There you go, you might wanna look into these few things before you come to our meeting for a special.
Good
permit.
idea.
To save them some headaches.
Here's the problem. When someone from a solar company walks up to my door, they know all the answers to all the questions already. They don't wanna hear what I have to say.
Right.
So I say, okay, submit for your building permit. I'd be more than happy to review it. And once I review it, I'll let you know if you have further approvals that are required. That's exactly what's happened in every single case.
Right, well, we have the thing like on a building permit. You gotta go to you gotta go make sure there's no back taxes, you gotta make sure there's none of this. So each board they should actually get to, before they come to us and waste their time and
My-
everybody.
They didn't
only
feel as though they had a
concern
right to do this.
Is,
Well, they were wrong.
I know that.
I understand the taxes, is who's going to give that advice? Are you going to ask Roz to do it? Because there's
No.
nobody here full-time representing the
No, just stating
ZBA.
if you, like we have up there on, if we go to a building permit, there's residential, commercial applications. Couldn't we have a
Yes.
piece of paper in there so they could at least,
Ground mounted solar.
Here's my answer to you, okay? I do everything in my power
To tell them.
to make the taxpayer of this town resident aware of the process. I can't do anymore. That's why I have such a good relationship with the townspeople.
right?
The professionals, however, sometimes want to listen to me, sometimes they do not. Now, in this particular case, and others, a professional who wants to do business in this town are obligated to find out what the bylaws are, what the requirements are. This conservation requirement is not unique to Dayton.
Right.
They should have already petitioned the Conservation Commission before they even came to this point.
Well, that's what I'm
This
saying.
man does this all the time. He should know that towns have
He was
zoning
kind of
laws.
a real laid back kind of guy.
So I am going to do as much as I can to help people. I think everyone knows that. I don't get in the
Oh,
way of
no,
anything.
not against you. I'm
But-
thinking like as
but-
if the,
I'm not gonna go out of my way to help someone who doesn't wanna be helped.
but do you have that, when they come to see you on solar,
Mhm.
is it usually the owner of the home or is it usually the,
It's changes.
Yeah.
You know, typically with roof-mounted arrays, I never see a homeowner.
no?
No. With ground solar arrays, I do see homeowners on occasions. But when you're a professional like a solar installation company, the bylaws, you know, I know some of them can be ambiguous, but if you read through it, you know that you have to go through some type of approval processes.
How long has
It's all-
solar been going around?
I'm sorry?
What a
How
while.
long have- Yeah, well, I hear you, but I'm stating like now that they're getting all these tax credits and all this stuff. that
Tax
started
credit started in 2012.
2012, that's when solar became booming because people are here and I can get it for free.
And right now, we're
Yeah.
going on 5 years.
And I overheard you guys saying that it possibly kicking back, that was just this way to get another check out of Claire. Sorry to say it.
Well,
Another way, of-
He sat there and said that this was gonna be canceled.
that's not true. Right, it's going until
It's
2017,
gonna go
it's a
longer.
tax credit, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're gonna go till they reach a certain amount of stuff that the state has previously held up for
I'm
them.
just trying to make
Because
it so that.
the state's way ahead of what their goal was to reach.
Right, they keep on moving, you have to move the
We
numbers.
are way ahead of other states as far as going green and cutting back. I mean, we're doing fine as far as it goes. I mean,
I
as
said
it should
this-
be. I'm not opposed to this.
I said this 3 years ago at a town meeting. Massachusetts has decided they're gonna be at the forefront of energy conservation, and we are.
We are,
Whether you like
and
it
we're
or
doing
not.
well with it.
Well, those funds that Massachusetts is issuing is credit from the federal government.
There's
Right.
two, there's federal and state.
Right,
State is much, much less substantial than the federal.
than the federal.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the states are reimbursed from the federal government to get them to go green.
That's possible, I don't know that for certain. I know that there's direct funds that come from federal credits and there's funds that come from state credits. Where the state credits are financed from, I don't know where they're financed from, you could be right.
Like what I said before, so that for the future, if we can come up with information like what that man with the letter about exceeding the amount, they want, the electric light company will not buy back more than 20% of what you create. That's only to go into a
The
fund.
solar experts have installers, must know that.
Right,
I
they
mean,
do.
we had one that already started the project before they came to us. Remember, we went over there, it's already,
Yeah.
Right,
and we had to move it because it
right.
didn't fit in, but. so people
Greg,
aren't
I understand
necessarily
your
listening.
concern. I still think that Roz, 100% of the time, sends them up to see Jim. And between him and Nancy, they direct him in the right direction.
They just don't follow suit.
Well, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think this gentleman was well prepared. The fact that he should have been aware that Dayton has a 100-foot
Caused a lot of
buffer.
confusion for those people.
He absolutely did. I think the source of their
No question about it.
frustration, they
Lies
think is with the
right there.
town, but to be honest
It's
with you,
not.
I think it's with the developer.
I
The
agree
fact
with
that they
you.
came in May, we're only in July. It's only 2 months. It's not that long. It's a long time if you're on the forefront of having to do this. But nobody should have told them, which I have a feeling somebody did, that by the end of the summer, we're gonna have this thing up and running. The permitting process isn't
You
that
can't
quick.
control that.
Um, Like I said, the fact that,
I don't
and I
think they
apologize.
came to this board in May. They went to Jim in May.
In May,
Right.
right. I
Jim said-
apologize to Bob and
So you
and
told
everybody
him right
else for
away.
not telling you we're gonna have to have an August meeting. But we can't put these people off until October, which is what was gonna happen. And for what we get paid for the little time that we can come in and do this, I think we can still get 3 members to come in August to take care of it. With that, anybody else?
Did we vote on that YouTube thing then, or we just?
We-
Well, no,
Conversation.
we're in
Yeah.
the discussion period. We had did somebody vote yes? I
What?
mean, did we have a?
Can we vote? Do we vote?
I don't think it even requires.
You know, when I was acting, I gave permission. I
Yeah,
was-
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
it
good to have
requires
on
any
record
action on the
somebody-
board. I think
If I want
you
to be
can
put on
do it
record, then
without
I
it,
suppose, so that's fine.
but,
That's all, I'm not,
Bob was
I'm not
was
gonna
just a
stand up.
comment.
I just
Concern.
would like some kind of maybe fail-safe stuff put in. I don't want it to go back to be used against us later. And,
Not when it's out in cyberspace.
no, that's what I'm saying, once it goes out there,
They could put your head on a bear.
don't we have yeah, that's not what I'm worried about. It's when they put it on a donkey on an elephant.
Or dear.
Or deer.
There's a motion out there to approve this. The discussion is Bob Adams has concerns about where it might end up. I have no idea what that.
Are we on the town, don't we have a thing you go on the town@Dayton.com and all of our stuff is there?
It's
Yes.
also on,
So this is just another media outlet, okay?
right,
This is easy.
this is.
The minutes are posted on the town's website. This is an actual video
Of the
that-
film, right.
that Selectman Zagrafis has founded through the YouTube channel.
Now, will this be posted for a certain amount of time, or can we go back 10 years?
It stays out there.
I think some people, some users have a limit.
I don't know how
I
Brett
don't
set
know
it up, but
I don't either.
you can, once it's in cyberspace, you'll find it somewhere,
Fear of the unknown.
so.
How
What's
did
this,
Nixon say it?
35
I got impeached for over the erase in 15 seconds.
It was actually 18 minutes, but.
18 minutes.
Haven't been,
See, you know more about that.
All right, so
being a
motion to
Democrat.
adjourn?
Yeah, there's a motion to
I
adjourn.
don't care if you put it on a private server.
Somebody needs to second that, please.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Good night, gentlemen.
Top security.
All
all
set.
that. Do you see
Cable.
all this stuff?
All set.
Good night, Cable. You didn't have this much fun, did you?